From a manuscript of illuminated book of William of Tyre, 1130. You can see this in the Bibliothèque Nationale de Paris. And you see here the Christ-psychotics, that attack many cities during the Crusades and bombarding the besieged cities with the heads of the infidel. This is the reason the Muslims really hate the Christians, the invaders in Iraq today. They don't forget that. This is from an Archaeology magazine, 2002, September. Of course, Muslims are not the only ones that suffer at the hands of the Crusaders. Well, everybody suffered all the time because of this mental illness, Christ-psychosis. Picture here of a schizophrenic, a very demented person named used to be a Catholic monk named Martin Luther, the reformer. He wrote a book said on the Jews and their lies. This is a fact, my friends. This is you can see it in history. And also they equate him with Adolf Hitler because Hitler loved this man, this Martin Luther, and also he liked the Catholics. So they were all considered the Jews Christ killers. That's where the whole thing started from, Christ-psychosis. And the man, Martin Luther, it was this man was virulent and very much of a sicko. He would be locked up in a mental institution today. One of the greatest criminals here in the Americas was Hernandez Soto. The Spanish Christ-psychotic barbarians. These people are vile criminals in Christ, of course. Lunatics. And of course, here's an illustration of the 1600s. Their crimes are incredible. And they're deeply, deeply believers in the invisible friend Christ, a delusion. The Christ-psychotics in the Jamestown settlement in 1622 clearly said the Indians should be conquered and exterminated. Now, why is that? Because basically, these people are Christians. They are hypocritical, delusional idiots and retards. And they are superior. They're self-righteous. They have to civilize. They have to give the word of Christ and shove this delusional, invisible friend in everybody's throat. They're still at it, the missionaries. This one is another great Christ-psychotic. The king, actually was queen of England, James, a homosexual man. He was he was the one that decided to have the text of the Bible translated. This is the King James version of the Bible. The very retarded, ignorant Christ-psychotics don't realize that their Bible is a product of a translation of a gay man, a sinner, that actually decided to translate the text of the Geneva Bible because he didn't like the Geneva Bible by Calvin. And the whole thing was started with Luther. Luther is not translating Bibles, and everybody followed this example because they want to revolt against or protest against the original creator of Christianity, the Catholic or Universal Church. This guy was he had two lovers. As a matter of fact, his tomb in St. James Church in England, he has his two lovers next to him, his cousin and the Duke of Buckingham. Christians should actually lump it. They're totally ignorant. They read the Bible made by a gay man. This is hilarious. A criminal Christ-psychotic Chivington that massacred all these Indians in the name of Christ, of course, because they were inferior Indians. Anyway, that was the feeling of everybody, all the Christ-psychotics infecting Colorado at the time, and the whole country, as a matter of fact. But this is a picture of Ellen White, the founder of the Methodists. This is a very psychotic woman, as you can see her face. This is the completely, in my view, is a face of a schizophrenic. But she had a bump in the head, like they said, and she suffered a severe blow to her head. She was semi-conscious for several weeks, and so she'll never return to school. as quoting, following the accident, Ellen's personality changed dramatically and she became highly religious and moralistic. To be religious, it only requires the brain to malfunction. The same thing that happened in the schizophrenic: lack of oxygen, trauma, psychotropic drugs, or a bump on the head. People that are very religious, they seem to me like they bump their head, or they suffer a problem, and this is very bad. But anyway, she founded a Methodist, and it's very interesting if anybody will follow that. And of course, this was in 1864. BBC had a broadcast on April 2003 that was titled "God on the Brain." Fascinating about how the brain, actually the brain creates gods, not the other way around. This is only, very similar to the Crusades, catapulting heads over the cities, in the 12th century. It says here, and this is historical fact. After hours of fighting, the Colorado volunteers had lost only 9 men in the process of murdering between 200 and 400 Cheyenne, most of them women and children. After the slaughter, they scalped and sexually mutilated many of the bodies, later exhibiting their trophies to cheering crowds in Denver. Chivington was at first widely praised for the Battle at Sand Creek. Well, what does it tell you? Because Christians believe in their insanity and schizophrenia type disorder, they believe they are self-righteous, and every slaves, everybody like the blacks and the Indians, some of that, they are heretics. The Jews have killed Christ and everything. So these people are inferior. They are the ones that started this intolerance nonsense, and this is the reason we must put these people in medical in sanatoriums, starting with the retard that we have for presidents today, that believe that God talks to him, invisible friends talk to him. These people, they're schizophrenic. And it's, I blame the neurologists for not speaking out.
Instructed by their commanders there about what they should do in terms of showing their own faith.
Well, again, it's a question of sensitivity and awareness. Now, in Iraq, for example, religious services are conducted, of course, on any U.S. military base in that country, but that is out of the sight of the Iraqi population. Soldiers certainly may decide to carry a small prayer book, Bible or something in their backpack, in some part of their uniform, in a pocket. As for any overt signs, it is only chaplains, of course, that are permitted to have those religious emblems, if you will, on their uniform.
As you can see, religious psychosis is the most destructive mental illness that affects the world today. Christianity being its most devastating strain. Let's help cure it.